Director of Hockey Ops for your Columbus Blue Jackets, a legend in his own right. 61, Rick Nash joining us on the Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems fan guest hotline. Rick, thanks for getting up this morning. We appreciate it.
Hey, good morning to you guys. No problem.
So encouraging signs last night in Dallas, right? I think this is one of the times where early in the season you've had really good efforts from your goaltending. You've had, some solid efforts in most of these games, but the results, for whatever reason, just didn't get there. Last night, the goal scoring was there too, and they win 5-1. What does that mean for the organization to have a nice, kind of encouraging game actually result in a win there?
Yeah, we knew the start of this season was going to be huge, and obviously after the first four, it was a little concerning. But we had to bounce back in the last two. As you said, goaltending has been great. Both guys have been playing very well, and it was a huge win last night. Dallas is a true Stanley Cup contender, and they obviously have been going far the last couple of years. So it was a good test for our guys, and I thought they played great.
Rick, all this season, the beginning of this season, everybody's been complaining about power play goals, scoring. They got it done last night. What did you see them do differently?
Yeah, well, it's interesting. Special teams is such a huge part, and I feel like if it's early on in the season, if it's the middle of the season, or if it's the playoffs, if you can win the special teams game, you have a pretty good. At least you better your odds or chances of winning the actual game. And sometimes coming out of training camp early on, no matter what sport it is, it's tough to get 25 guys on the same page to have that chemistry during a power play or penalty kill. I think as we move forward and into last night, we kept things a lot more simple and just kind of directed pucks at the net, not overhandle things, and on the PK is just kind of make easy reads and make sure you get your clears.
Rick Nash joining us on the Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems fan guest hotline. I feel like it has to be important for these goaltenders, especially Elvis has been, through a lot here with the Jackets and, had his ups and downs. A lot of people have had their doubts about him, but yet he early on this season has looked as good as any goaltender in the NHL. His save percentage is up there with anybody. I think it has to be rewarding for him, right? To finally get, some W's to go with that, right?
For sure. As a professional athlete, it's definitely always nice to see results when you put the work in. And Elvis puts all the work in, and he's a guy that wants to be the best in the league and help the team as much as he can. And you're right. Sometimes you put all that work in and you don't see the results, and it can be frustrating. At the same time, it's a team sport, and you can have individual success, but at the end of the day, when the team has success, that's when your individual success kind of takes new levels.
Rick, you got six records with the Blue Jackets. The one I want to talk to you about is the goals. You had 289. Boone is climbing up that ladder. Do you think he can catch you?
Oh, I think he will. He's obviously a big part of this organization. Records are made to be broken, and for my 10 years here in Columbus, it was a great time. But it's fun to be around now and on the business side and seeing all these records get passed.
Well, how much fun is it for you when you have some young players that you get to work with, like an Adam Fantilli, who was you were in those shoes, what that feels like to kind of have the entirety of the organization's hopes and dreams kind of pinned on you at a very early stage in your career. The league's changed. This organization has changed since you first got here, but how much similarity do you see in what you and Adam Fantilli are dealing with, and how much does he kind of lean on you for a little advice here and there?
Yeah, I'm not around the big club probably as much as I would like to be, and in Adam's case, obviously he's done a tremendous job in taking his game to the next level. It's a tough thing to do when you're a young guy coming into an organization and there's so many expectations around you. But I think he's handled it well. I think in order for our organization to have success, we're going to have to see all our young guys take another step, and that's including Marchenko and Voronkov and Sillinger and Johnson, Matejchuk, and obviously Adam. I like our core of the guys I just mentioned, our young core, and then you kind of sprinkle in the older guys as well. But Adam's got some great veterans, guys like Monahan and Boone and Zach. that he can learn from, and I think he already has. And it's time for him to step it up and be a star in this league and kind of take our organization to the next level.
Rick Nash joining us on the Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems fan guest hotline. Like you said, I know you've had a lot to do with the development of this roster and some of these younger guys and seeing their progression as things come up. And you've got to keep your eye on the future, but obviously on the present too. I know a lot of fans in the offseason, I think, were looking for maybe some more moves in the offseason. There were some moves made. Maybe some fans, myself included, wanted to see a few more. But that all said, it seems like the strategy from the Jackets was we're betting on ourselves. We're betting on the development that's already been put in place. We're betting on a lot of these higher draft picks that have happened. And we're going to bet that strategy is going to work out if those guys can stay healthy and develop. So how much pressure does that kind of put on you guys internally when you're trusting that plan now and you've got to see that come to fruition?
Yeah, it's an interesting conversation. More moves around free agency usually means lots of long-term contracts for lots of money. When we have a lot of young guys that are going to be coming up, and when you follow the NHL, you see these young guys getting locked in for years and years. Whether it's Nazar in Chicago, Hudson in Montreal. So the landscape of the game is changing. You're kind of losing your bridge deals for these. For out of entry level contracts. So we have to be careful and make sure we have the space to take care of our young core, which we believe in. So, could we go sign, a couple 30-year-olds to long-term contracts? Probably. But, in the big picture, we believe in our young core, and we think that's going to be our key to being a successful organization.
Rick, I got to ask you the most important question you're going to get asked today. We had an argument earlier today about pie. Are you a pie guy? I believe it's overrated, Rick. Are you a pie guy?
You know what? I don't shy away from any desserts, whether it's pumpkin pie or banana cream pie, cherry pie, apple pie. So anything, I got a sweet tooth. Anything sweet, I'm not going to shy away from.
See, the specific question was pie or cake, I think is kind of where we went. I was more on the cake side of things, but if you look at me, that would not be a surprise. That's not.
Yeah. I mean,
I too don't shy away from a cake.
Yeah. We got to figure out what kind of cake and what flavor. I mean, we got to go deep into this if we're going to do it.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Well, maybe another conversation. We can do that for sure. I know you guys have a home game coming up Friday night against the Caps, and then it's a back-to-back. I know the back-to-back stuff gets made a lot of in the NHL, but you've lived that, you've done that. What is the best thing that these guys can keep in mind as they've got to do that type of turnaround, playing a home game in front of the big crowd and then go on the road to Pittsburgh the next night?
Yeah, it's hard. One of the toughest things I found of being a professional athlete on a back-to-back was just your sleep. You're asked to be amped up to 110% from 7 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. And then you're asked to sleep at 11 p.m. and wake up the next morning. It's a very tricky thing to do. The ups and downs are hard, but I think in that second game, on a back-to-back, you want to make sure you get the 2 points in the first game, which is huge, and then you want to keep it simple going on the road on a Saturday night. It's not easy, but you keep it simple. You get your legs in the game, then you hope all your cardio from training camp and from your summer workouts kind of take over.
And avoid pie. I'm going to guess on the on the nights when you have the back-to-back. Yeah. Maybe that's not the pie night right there. Rick, we appreciate the time. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, maybe we'll put that as one of our keys
there we go.
for the game on the weekend. But thank you, guys.
Yeah, thanks for the time this morning. We'll do it again soon.